Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Today is December 14th,
And we are out in the
2025.
solar system.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And today, I think I already said today's
The 14th.
December 14th. So it's a very busy time of year. And we have two major holidays, actually three if we consider Kwanzaa,
Which we
which we
should.
do. So, but I mentioned too because today is also the first day of Hanukkah. Excuse me. And we honor all world religions. And so I would like to start by explaining a little bit of Hanukkah, which you may already know or may not. But
Especially if you're Jewish.
yes, especially if you're Jewish, and we have many Jewish people in our teaching. So, but I just would like to share a little bit of information. Hanukkah in Hebrew means dedication. And so it is known as the Feast of Dedication dash Festival of Lights or Feast of the Maccabees. And it is celebrated for 8 days, beginning this year, beginning today, the 14th through the 22nd. And it commemorates the rededication of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. Each night, candles are lit on the menorah, which is a Hebrew word meaning lamp. The ancient temple menorah had 7 branches, symbolizing the days of creation, and its flame was meant to burn continually. In 167 BCE, before the Common Era, when the region of Judea was caught between the Egyptian and the Greek Assyrian empires, the ruler Antiochus IV outlawed Judaism and desecrated the temple. A small band of rebels known as the Maccabees reclaimed it and relit the menorah. Tradition says one day's supply of oil miraculously burned for 8 days. The Hanukkah menorah therefore has 9 candles, one for each day of the festival, plus a helper candle used to light the others.
Hmm.
So if you ever wondered why they do that, that's in celebration of the miracle of keeping the temple lights lit. And I have a quote from Raphael Goldstein. It says, "At this time of year, when the sun is most hidden, the holiday of Hanukkah, celebrates the rays of hope and light. Often, it is through simple and unrecognized miracles that we are able to feel the warmth of hope and light."
It's really very rich.
Yeah, it is very rich. It's a nice celebration. And our topic today is Say It Now. And this is a topic I think we've addressed a little bit recently, but this December 10th, which was just in the middle of last week, is official now, official Say It Now Day. So its origins are this. Walter Green was a former CEO living in San Diego, and two pivotal experiences left him with an indelible mark on his life. The first was a year-long journey that he made. I guess he was retired at this time, a journey throughout the United States to visit 44 people who significantly impacted his life. This led to his book, and the book was called This Is the Moment, where Walter laid down the groundwork for the importance of expressing our feelings of gratitude for others. The second experience occurred when a friend asked him to organize a celebration of life after his passing, and Walter declined. He said, "No, I won't do that, but I will help you with a celebration of life with a living tribute on your next birthday," because he wanted him to hear it now. And so this event was so enriching for everyone that it affirmed Walter's commitment to make living tributes a normal part of daily lives. And so there's now an organization. The website is justsayitnow.org. But this is a valuable thing because, we always hear at our memorial services, people say glowing things about their friends and loved ones that they may never have told a person in person while they were alive, and he feels, say it now, say your gratitudes now. And I bring this up right now, really, I thought it was very timely because I've just had a visit with relatives who live in other places and around the world, actually. And I'm just a little astounded at the number of people who let past offenses stop them from appreciating any of the good that person has done and is still doing. And so I realize that this is that time of year. This is that time of year when we get together with family, hopefully, and a number of people just can't let go their criticism of things past. And I think I'm a peacemaker because I would prefer to appreciate what they've done well, what they've done with kindness, what they've done helpful, and forget about um, things that they've done that people have found offensive or hurtful. Uh, and my coming to this was largely from something I learned in A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles was a channeled book. It's actually 3 books. And it was channeled to a research psychologist, a research psychologist. And she started hearing, she was a Jewish woman, by the way, and she started hearing, "This is A Course in Miracles, please take notes." And she kept hearing this. "This is A Course in Miracles, please take notes." And it was frightening to her. Hearing voices to her meant schizophrenia. And she was afraid she was becoming schizophrenic. So she talked to her partner at work and told him what was happening. And he said, "Well, why don't you take some notes and let me read them? I'll tell you if I think it's schizophrenia." And so with that, she very timidly and frightenedly started taking notes and kept taking notes and gave them to him. And he said, "I think this is very good material." So they gave it to some priests, Catholic priests, and they agreed. They said, "We think this is important material." And it takes you about a third of the book before you realize who is channeling is Jesus, which because he starts saying, "I never did that, I never said that," and he's talking about the crucifixion and things like this. So that made her all the more uneasy. But it has great lessons. Lessons 365 is one book of daily lessons that you practice. And one of them is this. You create as much pain in the world.
Depends.
You cause as much misery in the world when you take offense as when you give offense. I want to repeat that. You cause as much misery in the world when you take offense as when you give offense. And, Jesus was so good at stopping people who were self-justified and stoning, for example, the woman who had committed adultery. By the way, adultery only women could commit in those days, married women, because men could have sex with as many women as they wanted and have as many wives and concubines as they wanted. But so it was just a woman's offense.
So you're saying it wasn't fair?
It wasn't fair. And it was so important to them because the Jewish bloodline comes through the woman, through the mother. And that's it, because they're the only ones you can know for sure is Jewish. But so I think this is important lesson for us, especially at this time, because we tend to gather with people, some of whom are very annoying to us, but they're still family. And I would just like to offer that wisdom. We add as much suffering to the world when we take offense. So let's give people a break. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all do things we're later sorry for. Nobody's perfect. So that's my recommendation for if you have to visit with relatives that you have conflicts with.
You know, one of the exercises that I have done with clients in the past, which has really been helpful, is the person that has offended you, the person who has obviously done something terribly wrong, even from their point of view, if that isn't so. You set a chair in front of you, and an empty chair, and you imagine the person that you have a conflict with in that chair, and you tell them exactly, specifically what you want to tell them in as much detail as you want to. And
And
then
as angrily as you
is
would
that,
do
yeah,
it.
and with all the feelings and everything, no apologies, just let them have it. Let them know exactly what's going on with you around them. Then get up and get into that chair and have that person speak back to you. And it's
Through you.
yeah, and it through you. And what's amazing to me when I've done this and when I've seen this done is how much more empathy that person has than they had in the beginning, and how they see things they didn't see before. And you know, sitting in that other chair and imagining being that person is just something that we don't do when we're offended. You know, what we do when we're offended is we justify the level of anger and hurt and upset we have based on whatever that action was that that person was that we saw took, without knowing often what was going on or what has happened before that or how that all plays out. So, but it's important if we can, you know, the old saying, you know, walk in somebody else's shoes for a mile, even if they don't fit, and you know, if you don't have bunions. But but the whole idea, we haven't walked in anyone else's shoes. We haven't seen what that person is seeing in the world that has them be the way they are. And just doing that can give us enough distance from the upset sometimes to see it as we had something to do with it too. You know,
And when we let go of our cherished resentments,
yeah,
because when we have a resentment, by golly, I'm right. It's about me being right and they were wrong, and I'll never forget it.
yeah.
And it's a form of self-protection. I don't want to be hurt again, so I'll never speak to that person again and whatnot. But it adds as much suffering to the world.
And
So-
it can also be a way that the ego feels superior,
oh,
and,
yes.
and it justifies, sure, I'm mad, but if you had happened to me, to you what happened to me, you'd be angry too. Okay, so you're angry. So tell me how that anger is working for you and how it's helping you. And well, I have every reason, you have every reason to be, and you have every reason to let it go. You have every reason to say, to step aside from it and say, this is not good for me and it's not good for you. But you're right, it is a method of self-protection, but unfortunately, it doesn't protect as well as we think it does.
No, then you just hold on to the wound.
Yeah.
You're holding on to your wound and feeding it literally. And so it is so releasing to just let it go.
It's really funny. I was had a chance to spend time with another relative, and when we were in South Africa, she had uh, purchased a hat for me, and then with all the sunlight and everything, it was awfully bright. So she purchased a hat, and it was from the woman who saved chimpanzees. Can't think of her name.
We'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah. Anyway, she just died recently.
And gorillas.
Yeah, and gorillas, and she was a champion of nature. And so I remember the hat. I remember her saying to her husband, "Yes, that's the one," and him buying it, and her giving it to me, and me wearing it. And every time I picked up that hat since, I remembered that experience in Africa, and I've worn it with great joy. And so we saw her. It's been about 5, 6 years or more, maybe 10 years, I think.
It's been a long time.
And I pointed out to her. I said, "Remember this hat?" She said, "No, I don't remember that." I said, "You don't remember buying it?" "No, I don't remember that." And that was a positive, but there's just as many negatives that we forget as well. Except if we don't forget them, we hold on to them. The other person, that's long since gone. You know, I buy a lot of stuff, and once it's gone, it's out of my mind. I don't have anything to do with it. It's done. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. So I,
The woman you're referring to that we admire is Jane Goodall, who
oh, Jane Goodall, yeah.
recently passed.
Right. So, but it's just amazing to me. We also have cherished, valued memories that are now ours alone. They don't belong to anyone else. They're ours. The way we experience them is ours. So, if the good things we remember are ours and sacred to keep, we can clean house if we want to every now and then and get rid of the sacred resentments, the ones that we don't need anymore that are getting in the way of seeing the things that are positive.
Exactly. So I have a few quotes that I'd like to share from this justsayitnow.org. Take the opportunity to meaningfully connect with the most important people in your life and tell them how much of a difference they have made. And I'm adding this, even if you don't feel they've made a difference, um, tell them, tell them what you do appreciate about them. It's a day for connection, gratitude, and to tell your stories. They're talking about this December 10th, which has already passed. Say it now, Dave. And Walter Green, the one who started all this, said, "We are not self-made. We are blessed to have people in our lives who make a difference. Let's pay tribute to them while they're here. Say thank you now." And as I say, I've done lots of memorial services, attended lots of them, and I believe the person who's passed is present and can hear those gratitudes. But I also think they would have appreciated it a
Here,
lot
yeah,
if they had heard it when they were alive.
right.
So Thich Nhat Hanh was a Buddhist teacher. He's passed now too, but he was a terrific teacher of wounded people. And he himself had been greatly wounded. He walked through the Vietnam War. Um, but he says this: you need only one or two moments of mindful breathing or mindful walking in order to reestablish you in the here and now, to be alive again. Then you go to the other person, look into her eyes, smile, and say, "It's so wonderful that you are here, that you're alive. It makes me happy." Now, end of quote. What I would like to say about that is that I did this just this morning. We're still having some conflict with other things with family members. I'm shaking my head because I just can't believe it. There could be so much animosity over this time of joy and love. And so I just closed my eyes to meditate and did some breathing. And exactly this happened. You know, he said, when you just take 1 or 2 minutes of mindful breathing, which means just try to still your thoughts, just still your mind, just breathe. Or mindful walking, he says, mindful walking is walking in silence, being mindful of the earth, and if you're on the earth, and where you are, and the trees, and just the joy of being alive. That's mindful walking. And you just come back to center and let go of any of those uh, unhappy thoughts.
And you may have to let go of them 100 times. Very
We take
often,
it back.
we take it
We
back and
take
then
it
say, I
back.
tried letting it go. Yes, and you tried holding on to it. And so you're much more successful holding on to a cherished resentment than you are letting it go and having it not be so cherished anymore. But we all have them, and we have them, and I see it all the time now in the politics. There's a great deal of animosity, between political views. That doesn't mean you have to be hateful because you don't agree with somebody. It doesn't mean that they're right because they're adamant about it, and it doesn't mean you're wrong because you don't say anything. You can leave alone what is really not worth paying attention to.
We know as mental health counselors that this time of year, there's more depression than any other time of year. And that might surprise you because it's supposed to be such a joyous season. But that's the very problem, because it's supposed to be joyous. And a lot of people around you are joyous. It makes your own unhappiness magnified.
Well, and it also brings back for those of you that are alone, and that happens when you've celebrated many, many Christmases with people, and Christmas is a time that you're now alone. That can very much evoke the emotional past and the losses. So
Yeah.
it's a time, and it can be again a time of remembering rather than a time of loss. And when you actually have to consciously decide, this is a time of remembering the things that I valued and the blessings that I've had. And if we don't do that, it's very easy to slip into woe is me and things used to be good and now they're not, and I can't, and I can't, and I can't. If you're still here on the planet, then there's something you can do and something probably you're here to do. And it probably isn't to feel bad about the past. However bad we may feel, we can do more than that.
Right. This is a time of joy to the world. Joy to the world. So if you can't find it with loved ones that you have conflict with, find it with friends. Don't isolate and don't
And if you can't find it with friends because you don't have any friends or you're not where your friends are, then when you see somebody at a bus stop, say hello to them or comment on something that you see about them that is impressive or that's
kind.
worthwhile. Kind, yeah. And I think I've shared this story before, but it really struck me with a gentleman at the pharmacy who was so nice when he was being treated badly by the pharmaceutical person who was there, being treated badly, indifferently. And he just continued to be so kind and generous with his commentary or comments to her. And he went and sat down, and I went over and I said, if you're this nice to other people as you were to this person, I said, you're an extraordinary human being. And he said, wow, that you have no idea how much that means to me. And I said, I do know how much that means to you. And it means a lot to me to see love and kindness in action. Whenever you see it, when you put a light on it, it makes it worthwhile. If you watch a performer on stage, they do with the best they possibly can, and hopefully they're very good at what they do. But what makes them even better is that somebody in the back of the room shines a light on them. When that light is on them, they're illumined. And when that light is on them, they're different than they are when the light is on. And so we help more good come about when we focus on the good that we see. It's shining a light on the good. And it's interesting when you do that, how little darkness there is around them.
Indeed. So we hope your holidays are sunny and bright and happy and bright.
Or if they're cloudy and dark, celebrate that. Oh, it feels so good. I just have an umbrella and I don't need sunglasses. For those of you who have to
Indeed.
shovel snow, not as easy, but
So we're going to share a screen now because this is our time to let you know that we believe in the law of circulation. And here we go. Um, we also appreciate your support for this ministry. And if you can, we appreciate your donations. This is a picture of our website, and this is our website, Centers for Spiritual Living, cslpalmbeaches.org. And when you go there, you can click on ways to donate, and it will show you how. And we like to say this affirmation because we believe it's true. We believe that as you give, you do receive. So we say together, my investment today is made with the full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me enriched and multiplied. So it
And
is.
we'll stop the share and we'll stop the recording.